So one of the things I guess people would wonder, we've talked about the initial design agreement and getting a quote. So what happens next? So what happens next is a further deposit and I guess the beginning of preparation of building and contract documents. So we undertake a process which we call the site measure. And again, I think it's something that we go above and beyond compared to some of our competitors. We'll send out a plumber and he'll run cameras down the drains to see what the existing conditions are. We'll send the geotech to have a look at what the underlying soil conditions are. We'll start to look at what the engineering is going to be. I'll do a personal inspection of the home. I'll run a drone over the roof and have a look at what existing conditions might be. We'll be looking across the home and looking for signs of existing movement or potential issues that maybe
one of those sort of funny water things.
Yeah, the water levels. Yeah. So we go around and take levels of the floor and to see what the existing conditions are and if that's going to affect anything that wouldn't be immediately obvious to the untrained eye.
And in the event that there are some differentiating levels, which I'm sure occurs in older houses frequently, how much of a problem would that be?
It really depends on the house. So often it comes down to a judgment call as to how bad it might be, where it is. Is it something that is going to continue to move? Has it finished its movement and it is what it is? Doesn't necessarily and almost never affects what we're going to do new. It only affects the existing areas. So it will be a judgment call as to whether a client wants to re-level something if it's not level, or whether they're happy to leave it the way that it is.
You probably know just by walking over the floor how wonky it is anyway, Matt.
Sometimes not. It's amazing how you can walk through a home and you do feel the humps and bumps. Sometimes you become oversensitive to it, but other times you're pleasantly surprised. I did a site measure this week where the home was built, I would say, in the 50s, and it was probably the straightest, most level subfloor I've come across in my time here, and I wasn't expecting it.
Well, it wasn't in Coburg then?
No, it was in Mordialloc on a sand site, which would explain that.
I think it's really important to understand that when Matt's doing the site measure, if he understands that there's something that we haven't taken into account in our price, that we let our clients know straight away.
So sometimes there'll be something obvious. There'll be a giant tree next to the house and cracks all through the home, but it's often something a bit more subtle. It might be to do with the way the ground drains. It might be some movement that I see in a footing or mould in a ceiling. But if I do see something, I'll make sure that I let the client know, even though we might not already have. There'll be occasions where we'll need to get an engineer to assess something, but I'll still flag that with the client and make sure that there's at least, even if I can't give them a direct answer on the spot, at least they're aware that there's something that we're looking into. Because I don't want someone to come in and sign a contract and get a nasty surprise down the track.
And it's worth noting too that whole site measure process is very short, right? So from a client making that commitment that they want to move forward to a contract, to them signing a contract is probably only going to take about a month. And in that time you've done the site measure, we've done this extra due diligence, and they're going to find out if there were any additional costs, and let's say there are, in some cases there won't be. They're going to find those things out all in a matter of just a few weeks, so they can move forward comfortably to that contract stage in that month time, really comfortable.
Yeah, look, and people hate surprises, especially financial surprises, because for obvious reasons, but I think the important thing is when you're building with Supa Group, by the time we get to contract, Matt will have nutted out most of the things that could possibly go wrong. That's not to say things still won't go wrong, but these obvious things, for the sake of going through the exercise, it's really important for us and our clients.
I think it's important for clients to realise too that we don't just hoist unexpected things onto them. They get copies of documents well in advance. They get notice well in advance before anyone's expecting to sign anything or agree to anything or consider extra works. They're explained it well in advance, and there's no surprises. there's no pressure to sign something before you know the answer to something.
Yeah.
It's a really transparent process.
And I would say more often than not, when a client gets, I suppose, the news that their drains may have an issue, or that perhaps they've got some rotten stumps or whatever it is, most of them would be aware of that before they come to us.
It's probably 50-50. Clients may have experienced blocked sewer with tree roots or blocked stormwater with tree roots over the years, so they know their home if they've been there for a while. Others are oblivious. There may be a problem, but it's been causing a problem further down their yard or something like that. So we do get a mix. A lot of people aren't surprised. A lot of people know, and some people it is a surprise, because we can't always see what's in the ground, and not every owner understands the significance or importance of making sure that moisture is taken away from the home, or there's gardens that are landscaped correctly to drain away.
I think the thing we're trying to avoid is post-contract, when we're manacled together financially as client and builder. What we don't want is those surprises for the want of doing these inspections.